We get a lot of questions on Backyard Farmer about weed control, and we tend to talk a lot about it when it's weeds in the turf, weeds in established landscape beds. What we don't really mention is weeds in newly constructed or newly planted or newly plowed sites. So here we are at Raising Nebraska. We're going to talk about weeds on steroids. From July 21st until today, this is what you get for pigweed and barnyard grass from pretty much nothing. So we have a couple of choices, and of course chemicals are always one of them if people choose to go that route. Backpack sprayer or a handheld sprayer on a day when it isn't windy, which is pretty much an impossibility on an open site. That allows you to direct the spray. A nozzle that will throw a pattern that is long and low will be helpful, but you really do have to read directions on whatever you choose to use for weed control, as well as make sure that that wind is not terrible. We don't really like to use chemicals. We don't use them much in the Backyard Farmer Garden in Lincoln. Here at Raising Nebraska Outdoors, we will do some chemicals because we probably are going to have to. This is an acre site. But in the meantime, we have been watering our crops and watering all of our garden spaces, so many of the weeds just pull right out of the ground. And good gardeners, of course, are the ones that have dirt under their fingernails, or if they have fingernails at all. So the pigweed, the barnyard grass, a lot of these big ones, we're going to go ahead and pull. We will weed whack or mow the rest of them. What I want to note, though, is how many of these weeds have germinated from this tilled or turned soil. They've come through our mulch. We don't recommend using landscape fabric, especially in a landscape bed. We have lots and lots of problems with weeds coming up through the fabric. And you have to pull the weeds, the fabric comes up. You can end up with soils that are either incredibly dry or incredibly wet. So we don't have fabric under our mulch. We did use newspaper under the paths at the Backyard Farmer Garden, the Vasco Garden on campus. That has worked really well, and that is something that does degenerate over time or break down over time. So you'll see a difference in the weeds against the walls. The bigger ones, of course, are pretty well established. If the soil is moist, they'll pull right up. You see different things, the grassy weeds coming up in kind of this sandy clay soil here. Again, it's really important to understand the difference between winter annual weeds that'll be germinating, set seed, croak. You can do a pre-emerge late in the fall on that, or to understand the perennial weeds. And the perennial weeds, like the bindweed, etc., are the ones that really cause people a lot of heartburn. So we'll be doing actually mechanical cleanup out here. We will be remulching. We are likely to use Snapshot, which is preen on steroids, to be able to help with some suppression from the pre-emerge standpoint. So you'll see a lot of weeds. You'll see them thrown in a place where they can compost so that they don't regenerate new weed seedlings when we come back next year.